do the right thing, what's best for the player. And they fall into four categories. So basically anything that we really talk about, anything we really talk about in our office, and when we're making decisions as a staff and for you guys, they relate to four pieces. The first one is probably something that we'll hit on quite a bit today. We want to create pathways that provide opportunities for our players to be the best they can be. That stands alone. That doesn't need a whole lot behind it. We want to make sure that when you guys come in this club as players, and you guys parents that can trust us with your kids, we are giving them the opportunities they need to see how good that they can be. And that can look a lot of different ways, but obviously this BCNL that we talk about is a big part of that at the top of the pyramid. Our coaching education is a big part of what of this being it, and it falls into our facilities are a big part of this. Our administrative operations are a big part of this. So we want to make sure that we create pathways that provide opportunities for our players to be the best that they can be. Second one, we want to teach and learn the life lessons through the sport of soccer. That's why, that's the most important really part of what we all do this. That's why the coaches are in the room, because the game was good to them, the game was good to me, and it did a lot for me, and hopefully we are hopefully being able to do a lot for our kids. That can look on a positive and on a negative. As you guys know, this club, in the same sort of conversation that we are not perfect, that's part of it too. There are sportsmanship issues that we can clean up in our club. There are pieces that we need to do better in that club. But there are also these moments of sort of special qualities that I hope all of you have had, where a player is reaching out for their teammate, a player is helping out an opponent. There's a learning of interaction and being a teammate, being a leadership, committing to something as hard as you guys commit to, as much as you put into it. All those types of things are really important as we make decisions in our club. In the same sort of family, great friendships, memories, and a lifelong love for the sport of soccer. Again, this is going to be a different experience for every single one of you guys in here. Your experience with our club is different for every single one of you. But if we can have our young people watching World Cups and watching professional games when they're my age and they have a love for the game, then no matter what they've done, I think that there's something that we can be proud of in that place. And the other thing too, and I can say this too, is as hard as we work on our coaching education, bringing our coaches in, working on trying to continue to get better, one of the last things that we say in every single meeting is don't forget to have fun. Okay? Because yes, there is a serious piece of this. There's a serious moment to this. There's a coaching piece of it that wants us to beat somebody else, to beat somebody else. But this is all supposed to be about fun. And so that's something that we want to continue to get better at. And again, I don't pretend that we're perfect. We are an imperfect club, and that's every soccer club in the country. And then the fourth one, and again, I think we'll probably talk about the two sort of bookends, of the first and the last today. We want to aspire for excellence. We want to be the best that we can be, and we won't apologize for trying to be the best that we can be. And we also think that in trying to be the best that we can be, we can also give a really good experience for every single player in this club. And that aspire for excellence we're not talking to the top 2, 3, 4 players. We're talking to our entire group. We want to make sure that we aspire for excellence. So, with those things in mind, we'll dig into sort of the two kind of big pieces that will probably generate some questions. Hopefully I can answer some before they're asked, and we dig into it. So, our pathway. Another thing that you'll constantly hear me talking about in the office is making sure that our pathway is spot on. Is making sure that we're giving, it falls in the same idea of making sure that we're giving the players everything that they need to have success. So for those of you who are new and might be sort of checking us out and sort of taking in the hammerheads, for those of you who have been here for a while, this is always a good refresher. We continue to make it better and better, but this is our pathway. The recreational level, we're very proud of this piece, and I'm going to take a second to talk about it because it's really important. It is our base. It is where a player falls in love with the game, or wants a little bit more, or is begging you as a parent to take them to another practice. When's the next practice? When's the next practice? And so that's where we try to get that. We go at opening weekend this weekend. We continue to be really excited about that program, and that's a big part of what we do. From there, again, the idea of, is your kid wanting more? Is he bouncing off the walls? Is he kicking the ball off? Is he breaking windows with the ball? Things sort of funny things that, when a player wants a little bit more. That's the next step of the juniors program, and you guys have been through that. That's professional coaching. That's more of a curriculum. That is more time spent on the field, purely based on hours. And that's also one that I can say that we are constantly trying to work and change and evolve and make better. I think it's in a pretty good place now, but what we're excited about is we're going to talk a little bit in the next few months about what we're going to do to make that even better. We took it from a step where we've integrated them into our recreational league, and now hopefully we're talking about maybe potentially creating a league throughout the coast that limits travel to a very short amount of time and it gets more like-minded sort of players together with like-minded players. That's always a good thing. Obviously our classic part, which a lot of you guys have spent time in, this is North Carolina Youth Soccer Association. And NCYSA is a great organization. We're really proud to be a part of it. We continue to have that relationship with them. But for me, it's been the huge support that provides our schedule, that provides our accountability, that provides a lot of things that we need as a club to make sure that we work. Whether we're going to take safety training in the middle of a month, or whether we're going to the AGM meetings, we think this is a really important piece of being a part of being a youth soccer club. They give us a consistent training schedule. They give us tournaments. They give us opportunities to compete. So we're really happy and proud to be part of NCYSA. And then obviously ECNL. So this is a really exciting part of tonight. ECNL, and again, there's probably people that maybe your son or your daughter said we're getting into ECNL, or maybe your husband or wife or someone said we're getting ECNL, and you go, what does that mean? So hopefully we're going to try to educate you on this. In sort of a brief, quick idea as it pertains to this pathway, an ECNL is a national league. It takes us into, there are 2 national leagues in the entire country. The pathway for us, just for you guys to know, is about 6 months ago, we filled out an in-depth application. And that's the one thing that I'm always really proud of is our players got us into this league. And not just our top players, not our player pool. The entire player pool. So we fill out an in-depth application with our coaching slate, our coaching education, what our players have done, what our teams have done, what we are as a club. Do we have this pathway from recreational all the way up? Because the ECNL is looking at all of those pieces as they decide who they want as a part of their group. And so obviously we did that. I also, you guys might have saw me, and maybe this makes sense. Hopefully I'm always present. I'm there all the time. But I also watched. We had luckily or fortunately, we had a round of ECNL games against ECNL opponents in January, and we just were fantastic. And so and not fantastic in the results, so to speak. Fantastic in those coaches are walking away going, yeah, those guys are really good, or those girls are really good. And so that was a little piece. So we sent an update to ECNL. Hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we've done. Here's where we are. And then the conversation moves forward, and here we are tonight. We probably got word of ECNL membership about 10 days ago. So there are going to be some pieces of the ECNL that are kind of, yeah, we're gonna get this right, and we're not going to talk about the entire, every single piece of the ECNL as far as costs and all that kind of stuff. We're going to get into that, but we got to get some of the details right before we make sure we get that. So our pathway that we're really proud of. I failed to mention Brunswick Hammerheads. Again, this is a startup. This is something that we're really proud of. There's a great group of kids, about 150 plus of them that are playing on 15 teams down in Brunswick County. Just for you guys to know, obviously that's a brand new piece. The level is not at the Wilmington Hammerheads level club, at the Wilmington Hammerheads level. So hopefully, as we build this pyramid, we add Brunswick Hammerheads in there, and they also become of it with the idea that that the graduation level within that is an opportunity to be a part of the Wilmington Hammerheads. So that's an exciting sort of piece of what we're doing. Before I get into the tryouts and some of that piece, this is something that I kind of lean on when I'm having conversations. Again, we've all signed up to be competitive. And I think that and this quote, we have to take the good with the bad in regards to this. So we've all signed up to be competitive, and again, not to sort of bore you with stories, but I can only assume that your pathway to get here was my player was probably playing in rec, maybe playing in a certain space, and there were maybe one or two players that were kind of sort of working at the level that they were working at, but there are some other players that were disinterested, and you said, I need something more. And so that pathway sort of took you to here. So that's the positive of competitive, is that your son or daughter, and again, it's not perfect, but your son or daughter steps into an environment where people love the game just as much as they do. And so that's part of the positive part of the competitive. The negative part is that we have to be competitive, is that we have to make decisions, and we have to make hard decisions. And so what's important for us as a club, and we continue to try to get better, and we will continue to get better, because we certainly aren't perfect, is we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can so that we are making sure that we have the answers for you guys as far as competitive. We want to make sure that we have a reason why we do everything. From an individual player standpoint to entirely with a club, like giving our land away to have $10 million. We have a reason for everything that we do, and we're proud of that. And yes, there's black and white and there's gray, but we have a reason for everything we do. So, for those in the room who have been part of the classic structure, this is our new classic structure. Obviously, you guys know these names. The ECNL will become what is the top of our pyramid, the top of our programming. The white team will become that second tier underneath the ECNL. The blue team will become underneath there, and the gold team will fall underneath there. Pretty self-explanatory. I'll tell you a couple of sort of, again, reasons why we do this. The white teams and the blue teams, and really as we sort of shift everything up, the white teams have the possibility of inheriting, so to speak, the spots that the ECNL teams were, that the former ECNL teams were occupied. So the idea of potentially a Premier League spot, if we have a healthy white team that is ready for that, we can take that spot from them as the ECNL team moves in there. And that comes with a lot of bonuses. That comes with obviously sort of